Good afternoon, students. So this is the Google Meet for this class, and I just wanted to welcome all of you to this class, to English 101, and to tell you that if you ever have any questions about your essays or assignments, you can always email me and schedule a one-on-one with me. So far, we've done week 1 and week 2. And so we've done the illustrative essay. And so the illustrative essay talked about where you would solve a problem. You would write about a problem that you can solve. And so far, most of you have done a great job with your illustrative outline, and you've done your thesis statement. So the most common errors was that you need to write, when you write a thesis statement, your thesis statement needs to be the main idea of your essay, and your thesis statement has to be a sentence. So you would have a thesis statement that would be a topic plus opinion plus reasons or solutions. So when you write your essay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write an introduction, and you're going to have a hook. A hook is the first sentence that grabs the reader's attention. Then you have 5 background sentences where you describe the problem. So what problem are you trying to solve? So let's say I'm going to do time management. So for the hook, so you would say, ever been too busy to have a good work-life balance? And then you would write Jane. You write about yourself, but you write about yourself in the third person for a more professional tone. So you would say, Jane is a single mom. She has 2 kids, full-time job. She has to pay the bills, the mortgage, full-time job, and she also has, she goes to school full-time. So where can Jane find the extra time, spare time, so that she could have a work-life balance? So in order for Jane to have time for her kids, yet have time for her schoolwork, 3 tips for Jane to have good time management skills. So there I had the hook, the 5 background sentences that talked about how busy Jane is. Then I have, on the last sentence of the first paragraph, I have my thesis statement where I write 3 ways in which Jane can save time. Would be to delegate work to others, plan ahead, have a schedule. Then the body paragraphs would be delegate work to others, would be paragraph 2. Then paragraph 3 would be have a schedule. And then paragraph 4 would be to plan ahead. And then your topic sentence would then match your thesis statement. For your topic sentence is the first sentence of the body paragraph. And so each of the body paragraphs will match your thesis. So in that way you have essay coherence. So when you have a thesis with matching body paragraphs, that's when you have 5-paragraph essay structure. So when you write your conclusion, you start with your thesis statement as the first sentence. Then you write 5 sentences to summarize the essay in your conclusion. And so each paragraph should have 5 to 7 sentences. And so here I talked about time management, about how pressed for time. Now if you use APA, so APA stands for American Psychological Association. So there are 2 kinds of quotes in APA. You can have a direct quote and you can have a paraphrase quote. In a direct quote, you quote the source verbatim, and then you have quotation marks, you have the author's name, the date, and then the page number. Then when you have the paraphrase quote, you summarize the quote in your own words. Then you don't need any quotation marks, and then you just put in the author and the date. So when we use in-text citations, we use in-text citations inside the body of the paper. And so when do we put in text citations? We put in text citations whenever we cite historical facts, medical facts, statistics, anything with numbers, dates, percentages, statistics, so anything to do with numbers, dollar cents, and uncommon knowledge. So if I were to say the average worker makes $15 an hour, okay, so that's $15. You have to cite the source of where you got the number from. So then you would put in, if it's a direct quote, you put quotation marks, then you have author, date, page number. And then if I say 75% of Americans are obese. Okay, that's another number. Okay, so then you would cite the source and you would write the author, the date, and the page number. So any kind of number, there are 350 million people in the United States, the population. Also, you would use a in-text citation. If I say the side effects of COVID-19 is coughing, COVID-19 vaccine is coughing, the flu, and feeling tired, that's a medical fact, so then you would need an in-text citation. If I say that legal age for driving in New York is 18, so that is a legal fact with a number, then you have to cite the source. So anything to do with numbers, legal facts. In 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered America. So that is a historical fact, then you have to cite the source. So whenever you have legal, medical, historical, scientific, and any kind of numerical fact, you have to cite the source. And so I tell students that you only need to cite one in-text citation per paragraph. And I've taught this already, I think, in this class, in which you use pie structure. P stands for the point, the main point you get from the thesis. So therefore, if I'm doing the time management one, so the paragraph 2 would be delegate work. A person, in order to save time, a person should delegate work to others. Okay, so that's the topic sentence from the thesis. Then you have your one in-text citation. So pi. I stands for one in-text citation. And you can get the in-text citation by Googling different tips for time management, and then you'll get a lot of hits. And so then you find something that matches your in-text citation. So let's say your in-text citation says 50% of Americans work overtime and have no time for family. And then you would have quotation marks. Then you would write Smith and date, and the author's name, date, page number. Then E for explanation. So then you have explanation of that in-text citation in 5 sentences. So P, I, and E. You have your main point from the thesis, then you have your in-text citation, then you explain in those 5 sentences. For the rest of that body paragraph, you explain in 5 sentences what that in-text citation means. Then you would say that most Americans have no time for work, they spend too much time at the office, they lack time management skills, and so Americans need to find a way to save time so that they can have time for their family. So that sort of thing. Then you would write in 5 sentences about the in-text citation in which I said 50% of Americans work overtime and have no time for family. So that would be the in-text citation. So basically, you only have one in-text citation per paragraph. Then at the end of your paper, you would have something called reference citation. Your reference citation is after the last page of your paper, where you list all of your references. And so you would put in the author's name, last name first, then the first name. Then you have the date, then you have the article name, then you have publication name, date you retrieve the website, and then you have the web address last. Many students make the mistake of just giving me the web address as the source, but you need to put in the whole thing. You don't need to put in the whole thing in your in-text citation. Your in-text citation, which is inside the body of your paragraph, only needs the author and a date for a paraphrase quote, and an author, date, and page number for a direct quote. So a reference citation means that you put in everything, so that if the reader wants to know more information about where you got the fact that 75% of Americans are overworked, then the reader could look up, oh, it's Smith, and it's from a 2022 article. Then the reader goes to the end of the paper and looks up Smith. And so your in-text citation should match your reference citation. All your reference citations should be in alphabetical order, and your reference citations should also have left-hanging indent. So you can Google that on how to do a left-hanging indent for your, and the left-hanging indent is only for your reference citations. So that's pretty much it for your illustrative essay. And so your illustrative essay, you're going to go through the writing process. Week 1 is where you have the pre-writing, where you write the outline. Week 3 is where you're going to write your rough draft. And then week 5, you're going to write your final draft after you look at my feedback. Then for your second essay, you're going to write a persuasive essay. And so in a persuasive essay, it's going to be week 4, you're going to write an outline. Week 6, you'll write a rough draft. And week 8, you're going to write your final draft. So 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5. So at one point in time, in weeks 4, 5, and 6, you're going to overlap your illustrative and your persuasive essay. So for the persuasive essay, you want to convince the reader of your point of view. So now I'm going ahead. I just finished reviewing what we did before, and now I'm going to go ahead into the next essay. So your next essay, you're going to write a persuasive essay where you're going to convince the reader of your point of view. You're going to find your topic from the procon.org website. And so you're going to write a topic plus opinion plus reasons. So you're going to follow the same essay structure as you did for your persuasive essay. You're going to have a hook, 5 background sentences, and a thesis statement. Then you're going to have paragraph 1, 2, and 3 will be reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and then your conclusion. So just like your illustrative essay, your thesis is going to be the last sentence of the first paragraph and the first sentence of the last paragraph. So if I wanted to say that I can't think of a good one. Gun control is necessary because reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Then reason 1 becomes paragraph 2, reason 2 becomes paragraph 3, reason 4 becomes, paragraph 4 becomes reason 3. So your 3 reasons line up with your paragraphs, and the 3 reasons of your thesis statement will match the 3 reasons of your essay, your persuasive essay. And then, so you want to persuade the reader of your point of view. And so you're going to use APA, and you're going to use pie structure. And once again, you're going to put the references at the very end of your paper. And so then also every week, you need to be doing your weekly quizzes. So if you're having trouble with any of these assignments with your weekly quizzes, you know you can always reach out and email me, because I will help you, and I will, if you have questions about, and also before you take every quiz, you should also look at my quiz notes. My quiz notes are going to be in your announcements. So I'm going to put in the quiz, in the announcements, it's going to say updated week 2 quiz notes, or updated week 1 quiz notes, and I just put into the announcements the updated week 3 quiz notes. So the quiz notes are meant to help you with your quiz, and the quiz notes will go over the English grammar you need to know in order to do well on the quiz. And so you need to take the quiz within that week, because the quiz always, the deadline is always Monday, and then the quiz closes. And so I put all the quiz notes inside the announcements, and you need to also watch the video that's inside the quiz. And so all of the quizzes and my quiz notes are based on the video that's inside the quiz. So if you have any questions, and if you want me to go over one of the quizzes with you, you can always call me, or you can email me to schedule a one-on-one phone call with me. And so I'm available from 11 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, till 5 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. And so you can email me, and we could do a one-on-one Zoom, just like right here, and it would just be you and I would go over either your essay, I could help you with your thesis statement, or I could help go over the quiz, which is what I do for the other school. If you watch my other videos in which I do week 7 instructor session, week 6 instructor session. I do it for my other school where or the students and I, we go over the quiz. And then once they go over the quiz, it's easier for them to take the quiz. So if you want me to go over the quiz with you, I can do a lesson just for you on going over the quiz, if you want. So that's a very popular request from my other school. And know that you can take the quizzes as many times as you want within the week until you get a good grade. And so if you have any questions about the papers, okay, so I went over the illustrative essay, persuasive essay, and the quizzes. Next week, we're going to be doing week 3. And so in week 3, we're going to talk about tone and register. And I'm going to talk about that if you're writing for your friends and family, then you use a more casual tone of English. And if you're writing for your boss, or if you're writing an academic paper for your teacher, then you're going to use a more formal tone of English. And that means when you write a formal tone of English, you don't use any slang, you write out your contractions, you avoid cliches, and you write in third-person case. You avoid saying I, my, you, us, our, and you also avoid saying you and your. And you replace everything with Jane Smith does not, instead of saying I don't have much time during the day, I have to take care of 3 kids and I have a job. Instead you would say your name, which would be Jane Smith has a job, Jane Smith is really busy, and Jane Smith needs better time management skills. And so that way you get rid of the I. Then when you give advice to the reader saying you should also have time management skills, so get rid of all the you and the your, and then replace the you and the your with people or Americans. So use specific nouns to replace you and your. So you could say Americans need to have better time management skills, or people need to have better time management skills. One needs to have better time management skills instead of you. Because in an academic paper, we want to avoid directly addressing the reader. If we say you, then it's like you. It's like you're pointing at them. And so that becomes too informal. Now, if we're doing an oral presentation and we're doing an oral presentation in front of people with a PowerPoint, then you can say you and your, because then you're addressing the audience. But when we're writing an academic paper, we're reporting the facts of what we find from our research. So think of yourself, when you write an academic paper, think of yourself as a reporter. You're just reporting the facts as you research it. So as you report the facts, that's how we use third-person case. Third-person case is used extensively by policemen, for example, if they're going to write about their police reports of what they did. They would say, John Smith resisted arrest, or John Smith cooperated with the police. Or if you're a nurse, you would say that Jane Smith is sick. Jane Smith has certain symptoms. Jane Smith needs to take aspirin, that sort of thing. So basically, just like you would writing a report at work, that's what it is to write a academic research paper. That's also a report in which you're reporting, but you're reporting to me the results of your research. So that's why in order for your research paper to be objective and neutral, so you need to have third-person case for a more professional tone. So we're going to go over that and that's really hard, because it's really hard to break the habit of using I, my, you, your, because we do it all the time when we're on social media. That's another difference. In social media, you're talking mainly to your friends and family. But when we're writing an academic paper, we are using formal English. And so that's the difference. And so the trick to writing good research papers is to learn to write and be comfortable with how to write third-person case. And that's really hard, because it sounds so unnatural to talk about yourself in the third person. And a lot of students never get over that awkwardness. So I want you to get comfortable using third-person case. There are times when, yes, you do use first-person case in a research paper, but it's used sparingly. usually you would say this author has, instead of saying I, you would say this author also has had experience doing XYZ. This author also believes gun control is necessary or not necessary, but it's not used that often. Okay, so it all depends on where you're getting your article published. Some publications or journals tell you that if you're going to publish an article, professional article with them, they only want third-person case. So you have to read the submission requirements. And so that's why I want you students to get comfortable using third-person case, so that in the future, if a teacher asks you to just write only in third-person case, you know how to do it. So that's the purpose of English 101, is to make you feel comfortable in writing in different kinds of essays, different kinds of, whether it's formal English or informal English, and to learn how to be aware of your audience when you write. So that's another thing we're going to learn in week 3, is to be aware of your audience. And so we're going to, in the practice forum 2, I think that's in week 3, where you're going to compare different situations. Now, in other words, if you're at a church, what do you use, first, second, or third person case? And then compared to if you're at work, and you're going to do, I think, a Venn diagram comparing being at church, being at the office. Being at the church, I'm going to speak more casually, obviously, because I'm with my friends and family. Than being at the office, I'm going to speak more formally. So you're going to compare the two places. Okay, so that's what you're going to do in practice, in week 3, practice forum 2. And then the week 3 forum is simply to discuss the difference between casual English and formal English. And this week, you did a great job with your week 2 forum, where we talked about community, where we discovered the English 101 study room. It's like a cafeteria where you can meet past and present students, English 101 students. And so that's just a nice place to meet other people. And even if you don't have the time, you could just, even if you don't find anybody similar to you, you could still read other people's posts just to see what kind of students go to LAPU. So most students were able to find somebody, so that's okay. So that was week 2 forum, and I just went over week 3, and so in week 4 I'm going to do another Google Zoom thing in which I go over midway the second half of the class. So basically I just did the first half of the class, week 1, week 2, week 3. So I'm going to end this rambling. And I just want to say that if you have any questions about any assignments, feel free to reach out to me and email me, and even if you're late to an assignment. So I want you to reach out to me and email me if you have any questions about any of the assignments in this class, because that's what I'm here for. My job is to help you succeed, and to help you learn to write, and to help you get a good grade in this English 101 class. So the one thing I do ask of you is don't give up. Don't think it's just so hard you can't do it. Just reach out. I always find that the students who ask the most questions, in other words, the students who bug me the most, are usually the students who end up with the A. Okay, so if you want that A, you have to reach out. And I'm here to help you, and I'm here to keep you going, be your personal cheerleader if I have to, whatever it takes, so that you get that good grade. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime.